Hi everyone, it's the last video of the year. I started this channel in late February. This is kind of nerve-wracking, so hopefully I get a little bit more comfortable with this. I can't believe we're at the end of 2023, 54 videos in. Stoked. So let's go. So, Time magazine is an American magazine that was first published in 1923, and I don't think I've ever actually read a Time magazine. But it's a weekly magazine, and it's every other week now, but it was initially every week. And at the end of every year, starting in 1927, they would release an issue titled Man of the Year. So it's a special issue each year where Time magazine features, and this is a direct quote, a person, group, idea, or object, for better or for worse, has done the most to influence the events of the year. So that's how they choose the subject. And it was Man of the Year up until 1999, where it changed to Person of the Year. And there's also been groups on the cover and inanimate objects, like the computer was Machine of the Year in 1982, and the Endangered Earth was Planet of the Year in 1988. And interestingly, the Spirit of Ukraine was the cover in 2022, so last year. So 2023's Time magazine Person of the Year was announced in early December, and it was Taylor Swift. Now, I like Taylor Swift. I know some of her songs. I don't have any of her albums, but I know her songs. I used to play them at my old work, and I photographed her show when she came here on the Reputation tour. And I like Taylor Swift. And honestly, if I was going to choose a Person of the Year that was like a singer, I would choose Beyonce for this year. I think she had a very huge impact on things this year, but that's just me. I love her. But all that aside, considering current events and everything that's happening in the Middle East, a lot of people felt that Time magazine made the incorrect choice, and that the people of the year should be the journalists on the ground in Palestine who are showing us what's happening on the ground, because international journalists aren't allowed in, and there's not a lot of coverage coming from outside of on the ground in Palestine. And I actually agree with that. And I had been wanting to paint portraits of some of the journalists anyway. And I actually completed these two portraits in my sketchbook probably the week after the Time of the Year was announced. I'd been thinking of painting them for a while anyway, because they've been having such a huge impact on me. It is because of social media and the connectedness of us being able to experience and share each other's daily lives that we're really seeing accurate pictures of what it's like there from these people like Bisan, who I'm painting here, and Motaz on the opposite page. And this video is just going to be the painting process of one of the portraits, because I just didn't want this to be an hour-long video, and I use the same techniques for both paintings, but I will talk about both the subjects in my voiceover. So I had seen all the discourse about the Time Person of the Year. I had already been working on these portraits and thinking about working on these portraits, and I've got some more I want to do as well. And the end of the year was coming up, and this was going to be my last video of the year. So I thought, why don't I just title this my People of the Year? And maybe we could do this an annual thing. And maybe my last video of the year can be me painting a portrait of someone who had a huge impact on me personally. So this is a portrait of Bisan Alda, and I hope I'm pronouncing her last name correctly. I'm not sure. She's a 25-year-old journalist and filmmaker in Gaza, and is one of the many people who are documenting the reality of daily life, and in English as well, so us in the West can fully understand it. And that's something I don't think is as recognized as it should be. Like that they're trying to get as much information to us as they can, so we can accurately understand what's happening. So it's just become a part of my daily routine to wake up and check that she's posted, check that Motaz has posted, and I get such relief when I see that they have, because the situation over there is quite dire. And Bisan always starts her videos with, "Hi, it's Bisan from Gaza. I'm still alive." And I think there's a lot of us who check for her to say that to us. I knew when I wanted to, I knew I wanted to do these portraits of these people who are having such a big impact on my daily life. And I also, I'm so used to seeing them in the conditions that they're in right now. And I knew when I wanted to do these portraits that I wanted to use reference of her happy and smiling, and a reminder of this young woman whose Instagram bio says filmmaker, traveler, and a dreamer. I wanted to capture this Bisan who was so happy, because I don't see her on my screen like that these days. And I just cannot wait for the day when we get to see this smile on her face again, and that she knows safety and that she knows peace. And yeah, so I just wanted to capture these portraits. I know I've seen a lot of artists doing portraits of the journalists in their press gear and all that sort of thing, but I really wanted to capture just a regular young woman, because that's what she is. And I think a lot of the issues that are happening is around the dehumanization of the Palestinian people. And I really wanted to counter that in the best way that I know how, is to capture her like this. So yeah, that's why I chose this reference from her Instagram. And I painted this in gouache. And what I did is I just did the neon underpainting, which I usually do, and then I went in with the shadow darker tones, and then I painted on top of that and built up the layers on top of that. And I love the way this turned out. I'm really, really happy with the expression that I captured. I feel like smiles are really difficult to capture accurately. And yeah, I'm really stoked on this piece. Now, at the time of recording this voiceover, 103 journalists have been killed. And that's an extraordinarily high number for such a short amount of time. In comparison, 63 were killed in the 2 decades of the Vietnam War. So these young journalists are literally putting their lives on the line daily. And it was just important for me to honor that and recognize that these are just young people with the weight of the literally the weight of the world on their shoulders, trying everything they can to get the information out and cover it, because there's no international journalists allowed in, which I think is very problematic. And it's because of them that we're really getting an understanding of what's happening from their perspective. And I just wanted to honor them for the young people that they are, with the hopes and the dreams they have, just like you and I do. I think it's really important to counter the dehumanization that we see so often, because it's human rights for all humans. So at this point of the painting, I just wanted to warm up her skin tone a little bit. I just didn't get it quite, I didn't get the tone quite right. So I just sort of went over that. And this is what I love about painting in gouache, is as opposed to watercolor, is that I can do endless layers. And yeah, so I just warmed up her skin tone a bit. And it's when I started adding in these little last details where everything really sort of started coming together. So I finished up with that finger painting that I've been doing around my backgrounds lately. And I really like doing this on my paintings now. And here is the finished portrait of Bisan. I love the expression that I captured. And then here is the full spread with Motaz on the right hand side. And he is a 24-year-old journalist who has also been doing some extraordinary work. And I painted this in exactly the same way. So I highly encourage you to follow these two on Instagram. I'll have their handles linked in the description down below. And these are my version of People of the Year. So I mentioned this in my last video. I just wanted to thank you all for making this a really successful year for me. Starting a YouTube channel had been on my mind for a few years, and this was the year that I finally decided to do it. So we're 54 full-length videos in now, and I honestly, I'm so stoked. Thanks for sticking with me through the schedule changes and trying to figure out the right scheduling that works for me. So going forward, it's still going to be a Wednesday morning AEST time upload, which is a Tuesday afternoon or evening if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video and have a great new year, and I'll see you in 2024.